Hello dear students, welcome back to the chemistry class. Now in this class let us discuss solubility of solids and gases in liquids. What happens when solids and gases are dissolved in liquids? What do you mean by solubility of solids and liquids in gases? You will be studying what are the factors that affect the solubility of these substances in liquids. Before moving forward with the solids and gases in liquids, let us know, you have to know what is solubility. What is solubility of a substance? It may be a solid, it may be a gas, it may be a liquid. What is solubility? Solubility means the amount of substance, the amount of a substance that can be dissolved in a specific amount of solvent at specific temperature, at a given temperature. So this is solubility. Amount of substance, it may be solid or a gas, that can be dissolved in given amount of a solvent. For example, you have 100 gram of water. In this water you are dissolving a substance. For example, let us take common salt, NaCl. You are dissolving this salt in given 100 grams of water. Now, the amount of this salt that can be dissolved in 100 grams of water, this will be known as solubility of that substance. Solubility of salt. Solubility of salt means the amount of salt that can be dissolved in the given amount of solvent, that is water. So this is solubility. Solubility mainly depends on 4 factors. One is nature of solute. The second one is nature of solvent. You have to see whether the solute and solvents, whether they are polar compounds or whether they are non-polar compounds. That is the nature of the solvent. Now, these are the 2 factors which affect the solubility of solids and gases in liquids. The other factor, important factor, it is temperature. What happens to the solubility when temperature increases or decreases? Whether the solubility increases with increase in temperature or whether it decreases with decrease in or dip in temperature. And the last factor is pressure. Pressure mostly affects the solubility of gases rather than solids. The effect of pressure on the solubility of solids is very less because solid mostly they cannot be compressed with pressure. So pressure only affects the solubility of gases. We'll come to that later. Now these are the 4 factors which affect the solubility of substances. Nature of solute and nature of solvent. Whether they are polar substances or whether they are non-polar substances. It depends on that. Temperature and pressure. With the increase in temperature and pressure, what happens to the solubility? Now, the first topic here is solubility of solids in liquids. What happens when solids are dissolved in liquids? Let us start with that. So, solubility of solids in liquids. This is one of the most common solutions. When solids are dissolved in liquids, you get liquid solution. For example, sugar dissolved in liquid, sugar dissolved in water, salt dissolved in water. Okay, those are common examples for these solutions. Now, when solids, this will be the solute, okay, are dissolved in liquid, this will be the solvent. You will get a solution. You get liquid solution. Okay, when a solid solute is dissolved in liquid solvent, you get liquid solution. Now, when the solid particles, when the solid is dissolved in liquid, first what happens? It dissolves. The solid or the solute dissolves in solvent. The solid, it will dissolve in the solvent. It is soluble. Now, why does it dissolve? Because the solid particles go into the solution. When the solid is dissolved in water, or when the solid is dissolved in solvent, liquid solvent, the solid particles go into the solution. Hence, what happens? The concentration of solute increases in solution. Okay, when solid particles go into the liquid solvent, what happens? The concentration of the solute increases in the solution. For example, when sugar is dissolved in water, sugar, let us take it as salt because it is a polar solute, is dissolved in water. When salt is dissolved in water, what happens? Obviously, the salt will dissolve in water. Why the salt will dissolve in water? Because the salt goes into the liquid solvent. The salt goes into the water molecules. Hence, what happens? The concentration of the salt in the salt solution increases. Now, we call this phenomenon dissolution. It is known as dissolution process. The process of dissolving solid solute in liquid solvent. It is known as dissolution process. In dissolution process, the concentration of the solute will increase in the given solution. Now, when solid particles, we have solute particles in the solutions. When one solute particle, for example, collides with another solute particle, when one solute particle in the solution, it collides with another solute particle, what happens? The solute particles or the solute, it will get precipitated. The solute particles will get precipitated when the solute particle, one solute particle will collide with another solute particle in the solution. The solute particles will turn into precipitates. We call it PPT, right? So, the solute particles will get precipitated when they collide with each other. Now, this process, it is called crystallization. Okay, when one solute particle collides with another solute particle, it gets precipitated, it turns into crystals. Hence, we call the process crystallization. So, when solid solute is dissolved in liquid solvent, two processes takes place. One is dissolution process. The solid solute will dissolve in the solvent. We call it dissolution process. Call it dissolution. Then we have crystallization. when one solute particle will collide with another solute particle. Now the solute particles will precipitated. They get precipitated out, they turn into precipitate. We call it crystallization. So we have these two processes here when solid solute is dissolved in liquid solvent. Now the dissolution process continues until maximum concentration is achieved. Okay, the dissolution process, the solute particles will go on dissolving until maximum concentration of the solute is reached. Okay, we call it saturated solution. We mainly have three types of solutions here. One is saturated solution, the unsaturated solution, and super saturated solution. The first one we have saturated solution. Saturated solution means solution which contains maximum amount of solute that dissolves in the solvent. So here maximum amount of solute is present. Saturated solution means maximum amount of solute is dissolving in the solvent. For example, you take salt, you take water. The maximum amount of salt that can be dissolved in water, let us assume it to be 38 grams in 100 grams of water. Okay, in 100 grams of water, what is the maximum amount of salt that can be dissolved? It is 38 grams. Okay, when you put 38 grams of salt in 100 grams of water, what happens? It completely dissolves. This is the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in given solvent. We call it saturated solution. 38 grams of salt in 100 grams of water, it is called as saturated solution. Now, only 25 grams of salt is dissolved in 100 grams of water. Okay, it is not the maximum amount, it is less than the maximum amount. The maximum amount of salt that can be dissolved in 100 grams of water is 38 grams. But you only put 25 grams in 100 grams of water. We call it unsaturated solution. Unsaturated solution means it is the solution in which the amount of solute is less compared to the maximum amount. So this is unsaturated solution. The maximum solubility is not achieved in unsaturated solution. Now there is another type of solution, that is super saturated solution. Suppose you put 50 grams of salt in 100 gram of water. Now this is more than the maximum amount of salt. Hence it is called super saturated solution. Now repeating again, you take 100 grams of water, you put 38 grams of salt in water. What happens? All of this 38 gram will dissolve. It is soluble in the water. So this is the maximum amount of salt. This is the maximum amount of salt that can be dissolved in 100 grams of water. Beyond this amount, beyond this 38 grams, the salt will not dissolve. For example, if you put 50 grams in 100 grams of water, only 38 grams of salt will dissolve. Remaining 12 grams, it will not dissolve. It will remain in the solution. So, if more than maximum amount of solute is present in the given solvent, it is called super saturated solution. Okay, in super saturated solution, excess of solute is present. Okay, excess of solute, more than the required amount of solute is present in saturated solutions. And what is unsaturated solution? In unsaturated solution, less amount of solute is present than it is required. The required amount is 38 grams, but in saturated solutions, less amount of solute will be present. So we have saturated solution, we have unsaturated solution, we have supersaturated solution. Now the dissolution process will continue until the maximum amount of solute dissolves in the given solvent. Beyond that, the dissolution will stop. It will not take place. If you add more salt to this, it will not dissolve. Only 38 grams of salt will dissolve. If you have 40 grams, you have 45, you have 50. If you take more than 38 grams, it will not dissolve. The dissolution will not take place. The dissolution process will continue to take place until the maximum amount, until the saturated solution is formed. Now, the crystallization process and the dissolution process are in equilibrium with each other. The number of solute particles that are dissolved in the solution, it is equal to the number of solute particles that get precipitated out. Okay, let me show you here. So, the number of solute particles dissolving, the number of solute particles dissolving, that means the number of solute particles undergoing dissolution, it is equal to the number of solute particles precipitated, the number of solute particles undergoing crystallization. Hence we say that this is dissolution and this is crystallization. Now, the dissolution process and crystallization process are in equilibrium to each other. The number of solute particles undergoing dissolution is equal to the number of particles undergoing crystallization. So, when solid solute is dissolved in liquid solvent, what happens? Dissolution takes place. Okay. You will get solution. This process dissolution, it is in equilibrium with crystallization. Okay, this is the equation for this. When you dissolve solid in the liquid solvent, dissolution takes place. At the same time, crystallization will also take place. We say that dissolution and crystallization are in equilibrium with each other. Now, this is the basic concept of solubility of solid in liquids. Here you studied about dissolution. Dissolution means the solute particles dissolving in the liquid solvent. Crystallization means the solute particles are colliding with each other. They will get precipitated out. We call this crystallization process. You know that dissolution and crystallization, they are in equilibrium with each other. Dissolution process will take place until maximum amount of solute is dissolved in solvent. We call it saturated solution. Saturated solution means maximum amount of solute that is completely dissolving in the given solvent. Unsaturated solution means less than required amount of solute is present in the solvent. Supersaturated solution means excess of solute than it is required is present in the solvent. Now, what is solubility of solids in liquids? Okay, solubility of solids in liquid means maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in 100 gram of solvent to prepare or to form saturated solution. To form saturated solution. In order to form saturated solution, the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in 100 gram of liquid solvent, that is called as solubility of solids in liquids. For example, you have 100 gram of water. The solute will be salt. The maximum amount of salt that can be dissolved in 100 grams of water in order to form saturated solution, that is solubility of solids in liquids. So maximum amount, let us take it 38 grams. Okay, so 38 grams of salt, it is the maximum amount that can be dissolved in 100 grams of water. Beyond this maximum amount, beyond this 38 grams, the salt solute will not dissolve. So this is the maximum concentration, maximum amount that can be dissolved in the given water. Now this is known as solubility of salt in given solvent. So solubility of solids and liquids. Okay, this is the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in 100 grams of the given solvent to achieve or to form saturated solution. Next, we have factors affecting the solubility of solids in liquids. The first factor is nature of solute and solvent. Here we have two types of solute and solvents. The first one, we have polar solute and polar solvent. Next we have non-polar solute and non-polar solvents. Okay, now what are polar solutes? Polar solutes are mainly inorganic compounds. They are mainly inorganic compounds such as common salt, NaCl. We have potassium iodide, potassium chloride, sodium sulfate. All these are inorganic compounds. Why they are called polar solutes? Why they are polar in nature? Because in these inorganic compounds, there will be charge separation. So NaCl means Na plus Cl minus. There will be a charge separation in these molecules, in these compounds. We call this polarity. Hence these are called polar compounds. Here also Ki. We have K plus and I minus. This is known as charge separation. Cation and anion. We call it polarity, hence these are polar compounds. So polar solute means mainly inorganic compounds. Polar solvent, the most common simple example is water. Water is a polar solvent. We have H2O. Here also there will be a charge separation. H2O means H plus and OH minus. There will be polarity present in water. Hence it is a polar solvent. We have non-polar solutes. Non-polar solutes are mainly organic or covalent compounds. Organic or covalent compounds such as naphthalene, anthracene. These are organic compounds. They contain covalent bonds. Mostly covalent bonds are present, hence they are covalent compounds. They will not split into ions. There will be no charge separation in these compounds. Hence, there will be no polarity in these compounds. They are called non-polar solutes. They are non-polar compounds. We have non-polar solvents. They are mainly organic compounds, organic solvents. Such as we have benzene, we have ether, we have CCl4, etc. All these are liquid solvents, they are organic solvents. Here also there will be no charge separation, there will be no polarity. Now, the nature of solute and solvent. What is the nature of solute here? It is polar in nature. What is the nature of solute here? It is non-polar in nature. You should know that polar solutes are highly soluble. They will dissolve easily in polar solvents. Okay. Polar solutes, they will dissolve in polar solvents. Whereas non-polar solutes will dissolve easily. They are highly soluble in non-polar solvents. We call it like dissolves like. Similar solute will dissolve in similar solvent. That means polar solute will dissolve in polar solvent. Like. Similar substances. Similar solute and similar solvent. Similarly, non-polar solute will dissolve in similar solvent, non-polar. So polar will dissolve in polar. Non-polar will dissolve in non-polar. So this is the nature of solute and solvents. Now if you dissolve non-polar solute, these organic compounds, if you dissolve these non-polar solute in polar solvents, okay, what happens when you dissolve these substances in water? The solubility will be very less. They will dissolve sparingly. Very less amount of non-polar solute will dissolve in polar solvent. Similarly, what happens if you dissolve polar solute in non-polar solvent? Again the same thing. The solubility will be very less. Very small amount of polar solute will dissolve in non-polar solvent. So where is the solubility highest? When there are like substances. Polar solute will dissolve in polar solvent. The solubility is very high. Similarly, non-polar solute will dissolve in non-polar solvent. The solubility will be very high. So this is the nature of solute and solvent. So solubility will depend on these nature of solute and solvent. The solubility will be highest when there are like substances. The solubility will be very less when the substances are different. When there are polar and non-polar solvents, when they are both different, the solubility will be very less. So this is the first factor that decides the solubility of solid in liquid. Next. The next factors that is next. We have the second factor that affects the solubility of solids in liquids, that is temperature. It's a very important factor that decides the solubility of the solids. We mainly have three trends here. The solubility of solids may increase or decrease when the temperature rises or increases. So we have three trends. The first one. In the first one, the solubility of the solute increases with increase in temperature. When the temperature rises, the solubility of the solute, it will also increase, it will also rise. So in this trend, in this condition, the solubility is directly proportional to temperature. As the temperature increases, the solubility will also increase. As the temperature decreases, the solubility will decrease. Now it will apply for only certain compounds such as sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate, ammonium chloride, potassium chloride, NaCl, Ki, potassium iodide, silver nitrate. So in all these compounds, these are the solutes, okay, these are the solids, solid solutes dissolved in liquid solvent. When these solutes are dissolved in solvent, if the temperature is increased, the solubility will also increase. Now what is the reason behind this? The reason is the dissolution process. Dissolution process means dissolving these solutes in the solvent. Dissolution process of these solutes, these compounds, is endothermic process. The dissolution process of these solutes, it is endothermic process. You know what is endothermic process? Endothermic reaction. The previous year you studied. In these reactions or processes, these processes or reaction takes place with absorption of heat. Heat is absorbed during these processes. Okay, so process takes place with absorption of heat energy. It is known as endothermic process. So when dissolution takes place, when you dissolve these substance, for example, take NaCl, common salt. When you dissolve NaCl in water, what happens? Dissolution takes place. During dissolution, when NaCl dissolves in water, what happens? Heat is absorbed. Hence we call it endothermic process. So when solid solute is dissolved in solvent, liquid solvent, there is no space here, write it here. So solute is dissolved in solvent. Okay, solute is dissolved in solvent. What happens during this process? Absorption of heat takes place. So plus heat is absorbed. Now what you will get here? When solute is dissolved in solvent, what you will get? You will get solution with absorption of heat. Heat is absorbed. It is taken in the system. Now we have delta solution H here. Last year studied this. Delta solution H, this means heat of solution. When a solution is formed, what is the amount of heat energy liberated or absorbed? That is heat of solution. Amount of heat energy absorbed or liberated, released when solution is formed. That is heat of solution. Now, you know that the energy will be in positive sign. It will be positive when it is absorbed. It will be negative when it is liberated or released. So during this process, heat is absorbed. Hence delta H will be positive. It will be positive because heat is absorbed. The heat energy in the system is increasing because it is absorbed. Now, according to Le Chatelier's principle, during endothermic processes, if the temperature increases, the solubility will also increase. This is according to Le Chatelier's principle. Last year you studied this in equilibrium chapter. Now, so this is the first trend. Okay, in this first trend, what you observe, solubility of solute increases with increase in temperature. What is the main reason? Main reason is the process is endothermic process. During this, heat energy will be absorbed. Hence, as the temperature increases, the solubility of solute will also increase. You can draw the graph for this trend. We have temperature here, we have solubility here. As the temperature increases, what happens? The solubility will increase. You will see an upward trend, an upward plot. As the temperature increases, the solubility will also increase. So this is the first trend for the temperature. Now, moving forward with the second trend. The second trend is exactly opposite to this one. In the second trend, you will observe that the solubility of solute decreases with increase in temperature. As the temperature increases, the solubility decreases. In this trend, the solubility is inversely proportional to temperature. This is applicable for certain compounds such as calcium salts. It is applicable for calcium salts. It is applicable for lithium sulfate. It is applicable for sodium carbonate. So all these are solid solutes. When they are dissolved in water, what happens? Dissolution takes place. When they are dissolved in water or when they are dissolved in certain solvents, dissolution takes place. When dissolution takes place, you observe that it is exothermic process. In the previous trend, it was endothermic process. When the substances are these solutes, it will be exothermic process. You know what is exothermic process? Okay, during this process or reaction, the heat will be liberated. Heat will be released. So reaction takes place with the liberation of heat. We call it exothermic process. Now, according to Le Chatelier's principle, if a process is exothermic process, when the temperature increases, the solubility will decrease. Now, what is the reason for the decrease in solubility with increase in temperature? What is the reason? The reason is the dissolution process. The process that is taking place, it is exothermic process. So, we have solute here dissolved in solvent. There is no absorption, so no need to write plus heat. What happens here? Obviously, solution will be formed. With solution, what will be released? Heat will be released or liberated. This is exothermic process. So we have delta solution H. This is heat of solution. So if heat is released or liberated, the sign will be negative. We have a plot here, graph. Okay, this is solubility. This is temperature. As the temperature increases, the solubility will decrease. As the temperature increases, the solubility will decrease. So this is the second trend. In the second trend, as the temperature increases, in the dissolution process, the process is exothermic, which is accompanied by liberation of heat. In this case, the solubility will decrease. Now, the last trend we have here, third trend we have here, in which the solubility of the solute will show irregular behavior when the temperature is increased. For example, here let us take a compound that is sodium sulfate. When sodium sulfate is dissolved in water or any other solvent, the solubility will be irregular. For example, let us take a plot here. Graph, this is temperature, this is solubility. So when the temperature increases, first what happens? The solubility will increase. Okay, the solubility will increase with temperature. Up to a certain temperature, up to a certain point, it increases. Then what happens? Then it decreases. Then it decreases. So this is irregular behavior of the solubility. Solubility first increases, then decreases. Now, at a certain temperature, this is at a certain temperature, it takes a sudden transition. It suddenly decreases at a certain temperature. This temperature, it is known as transition temperature. It is known as transition temperature. It is the temperature at which the solubility will show irregular behavior. The solubility will suddenly decrease at that transition temperature. For sodium sulfate, for Na2SO4, the transition temperature will be 32.8 degrees Celsius. Okay, at this temperature, the solubility of sodium sulfate will suddenly decrease, will suddenly start to change. Okay, so that is the transition temperature for the sodium sulfate. Now, what is the reason behind the irregular behavior of the solubility? The reason is the solid is changing into another form of solid. The solid is changing into another form of the solid. That is the reason behind this. For example, below this temperature, this is 32.8 degrees Celsius. Below this temperature, we have Na2SO4, decahydrate, 10H2O. The sodium sulfate below this temperature is existing as decahydrate. Decahydrate means 10 molecules of water. Now, above this temperature, when temperature increases, goes beyond this temperature, the solid will turn into Na2SO4. The 10 molecules of water will be lost. It will turn into anhydrous Na2SO4. So, below this temperature, sodium sulfate exists as decahydrate. Above this temperature, it exists as anhydrous sodium sulfate. Now, the solid form, it is changing from one solid form to another solid form. That is the reason behind irregular behavior of solubility. Now, we have Na2SO4 decahydrate. Now, above 32.8 degrees Celsius, above this temperature, this will turn into anhydrous sodium sulfate. Now below 32.8 degrees Celsius, the anhydrous will be formed, will be changing into decahydrate. Now, the reason for irregular behavior of solubility is because the solid is changing from one form to another form. Here you have decahydrate, which is changing into anhydrous. Anhydrous means no water molecules are present here. That is why it is anhydrous sodium sulfate. So, this is known as transition temperature. Above this transition temperature, we have one form of solid. Below this transition temperature, we have another form of solid. So, this is the third and final trend we have where temperature will affect the solubility of solid. In the first one, solubility increased with increase in temperature for certain solid solutes. In the second trend, we saw that solubility will decrease with increase in temperature. That is for certain solid particles, they are different. Now, this is for another set of solid solutes for which the solubility will be irregular. It will show irregular behavior. First, it will increase up to a certain temperature, then it will decrease. Now, when it increases to a certain temperature, it will exist as a certain form of solid. Now, beyond the temperature, above that temperature, the solid will turn from one form to another form. That is the main reason behind the irregular behavior of the solubility. Now, the final thing we have is the last factor affecting the solubility, pressure. What happens to the solubility of solids when pressure is increased or decreased? Now, here you have to know that the pressure has almost negligible effect on the solubility of solids. When pressure is increased, what happens? Compression increases. Solids cannot be compressed easily. That is the reason the pressure has almost negligible. It does not have any effect on the solubility of solids. So these are the factors affecting the solubility of solids in liquids. The first thing that you learned here today is what is solubility. Solubility is amount of a solute or a substance that can be dissolved in the given specific amount of the solvent at a given temperature. Then you learned about solubility of solids in liquids. What happens when solid solutes are dissolved in liquids? They undergo dissolution. They will dissolve in the liquid. We also learned about crystallization. When a solute particle is colliding with another solute particle, they turn into crystals. They will get precipitated out. That is known as crystallization. You learned that dissolution is in equilibrium. Dissolution, it is in equilibrium with crystallization. The number of solute particles undergoing dissolution, it is equal to the number of particles, solute particles undergoing crystallization. You also learnt about saturated solution. Saturated solution means maximum amount, it contains maximum amount of solute that is completely dissolved in the solution. If you put more solute in a saturated solution, it will not dissolve. It will remain as it is. Okay. Then you learnt about unsaturated solution. It contains less amount of solute than it is required. Then supersaturated solution. It contains excess of solution, excess of solute than it is required. So these are the three types of solutions you learned today. Then you learned about factors affecting the solubility. The first one is nature of solvent and solute. We looked at polar solutes and polar solvents, non-polar solutes and non-polar solvents. Polar solutes are highly soluble in polar solvents. Non-polar solutes are highly soluble in non-polar solvents. Like dissolves like, you remember that. The next one is temperature. We have three different trends. Solubility increases with increase in temperature. Then solubility decreases with increase in temperature. Then solubility shows irregular behavior with increase in temperature. As the temperature increases, the solubility will increase up to a point. Then it decreases. That is the third trend. And the last one is pressure. Pressure almost has no effect on the solubility of solids. However, pressure will affect the solubility of gases because gases can be easily compressed. The solubility of gases will increase with increase in pressure. That we'll be looking at in the next class. Okay, so this is the solubility of solids in liquids.